I want to thank you very much for being a part of the audience for this series, In a Family Way. At the end of this conversation, we're going to be opening up the floor to hear your questions. To thank you for participating, we're going to have a random drawing for one $25 gift card. And we really look forward to hearing what your questions are and finding the very best answers just for you. Welcome. Today's session, we are going to be talking about nutrition, the program WIC, and breastfeeding support. So please, we're so glad to have you here with us today, Chelsea and Sonia.
So as Barbara said, my name is Chelsea Hollowell. I'm the WIC program manager for Pueblo, Bent, Las Animas, and Huerfano counties. And I'm just going to introduce you guys a little bit to the WIC program and then talk about nutrition needs during pregnancy and recovery. And this is my co-worker, Sonia.
Hi, I'm Sonia Lindsay Kreitz. I'm the breastfeeding peer counselor coordinator and board certified lactation consultant for the WIC office. And we work with 29 counties in Colorado with our texting program. So we're very glad to discuss breastfeeding and recovery and what really is needed to help make that a success for you.
So a little bit about WIC. What we'll go through is what WIC is, how you're eligible, and then a little bit about the nutrition and breastfeeding support that we provide. A little bit more about what's new with the WIC program because it has changed recently. Kind of updated a little bit, and then where to apply and what to expect when you first join the program. So WIC has 4 different pillars that we really focus on. So it's the Special Supplemental Nutrition Program for Women, Infants, and Children, shortened to WIC, because it's a really long name. And so we really try and support women and children during critical times of growth and development through our 4 main pillars. Nutrition education, so we try and tailor that one-on-one to the person that we're speaking with. Healthy supplemental foods that are provided through your WIC card. Breastfeeding support, and then referrals to health and community services are our 4 pillars. So we focus on all 4 of those. Our goal is to help keep moms and children under the age of 5 healthy and improve long-term health outcomes and food security for families. And another thing to note is all of WIC's program services and benefits are free to the participants. A little bit about our Pueblo office. It's located at 101 West 9th Street. We're on the 1st floor of the health department. We have 4 registered dietitians, 1 international board certified lactation consultant, that's Sonia, 8 certified lactation counselors, 10 WIC educators, 5 of whom are Spanish speaking, 6 breastfeeding care counselors, and we'll showcase them a little bit later, 2 who are Spanish speaking, and then we also have the Baby and Me tobacco-free program. So if you're trying to quit smoking during pregnancy, I believe we have the only program in Pueblo for the Baby and Me tobacco-free program. So if you're interested in that, let us know. And then we also help to oversee the Trinidad, Bent, and Walsenburg WIC offices. So who can receive WIC services? So we do qualify clients based on certain categories. So if you are pregnant, breastfeeding, or postpartum, you can receive a package for yourself. And infants can receive a package for themselves as well, and then children up to their 5th birthday. But we do serve all kinds of families. So because there's women in the name of the program for women, infants, and children, a lot of people assume only women can receive the benefits, but that's not true because we understand there are a variety of families out there. So we do have some single dads that are on the program. We have grandparents that are on the program, and they receive benefits for the kiddos that are under 5. And we have a lot of foster families as well. So we do serve a lot of different families. And we encourage, families to attend the appointments as well when we are doing them in person. COVID's a little bit different, just because that support is really helpful for the kids in their growth. All right, so a little bit more about how you can be eligible. We talked about the categories that are required to be part of the program. The next thing is income. So we'll talk a little bit about how you can be eligible income-wise, and then you do have to live in Colorado to be eligible for the Colorado WIC program, but WIC is in all 50 states. So if you receive any of these 4 programs and you're currently a participant of them, you are automatically qualified to be on the WIC program. So if you are on Medicaid, SNAP, or TANF, or the food distribution program on Indian reservations, you will be automatically income eligible for our program. If you do not receive any of those programs, you would just need to find on this chart, you can look this up pretty easily online. You would just need to find your household size. So if you are pregnant, you can count yourself as 2, and then whoever else is living in your house. And then we usually look at the monthly. That's going to be the easiest to determine income eligibility. And then your income just has to fall under this. And it is the gross income, so it's before taxes. WIC does have 100 locations in Colorado that serves every county. It's super easy to apply these days. If you type in that coloradowicssignup.org right here, I think there's a slide later on, but there's just a couple questions that you have to answer, and then we call you to get an appointment set up. And then if you need to find a location near you, you can go to this website on our Colorado WIC website. All right, so once you're done and find out that you're eligible and you've applied and everything, what happens next? So at your first WIC visit, we'll verify that you are indeed eligible by looking at your income, your address, and then identification. Normally pre-COVID, we would check your growth and iron levels as well, because those are good determinants of how healthy you are and everything, or where we can base our nutrition education on. And then we would talk about your family's diet and health and everything, and offer advice, or listen if you have any questions too. And we can also refer to other programs at that time. Then we would issue you an EWIC card. I'll kind of show a picture later on of what those look like, because it used to be checked. And that's what you'll use at the grocery store to purchase those healthy supplemental foods. And then we do have visits about 4 times a year, sometimes 5 times a year, just depending on if we need to recheck with iron or anything like that. So we do see our clients pretty often usually, but during COVID, things are a little bit different. All right, so like I was saying, things are a little different. Everything's happening over the phone right now, because we want to make sure we're keeping our staff and clients safe during this time. Waste heights and proofs are being sent to an email address that we have, and then we're checking them from there. We do give the option to have your WIC card mailed to your house, or you can come pick it up between split time frames. And then we'll mail or email important handouts or nutrition recommendations that we talked about during the appointment. So the nutrition education that we provide is from our caring, supportive staff that really just want the best for the family and the kiddos to thrive and everything. So we try and take the time to listen to any questions or concerns that you have, and base our nutrition education on what you're thinking about. We do offer some classes, and then we'll give the education materials after that. And we can connect families to other support and health services in towns, such as like Catholic Charities or a caring pregnancy center. Or we have a ton of amazing community services in town, so we try and stay up to date on all of those. All right, so then switching gears and talking a little bit about nutrition during recovery. So really the best recommendation that we can give for nutrition during recovery is a well-balanced diet, along with physician-approved exercise. Especially if you're pregnant, you want to make sure you talk with your healthcare provider first about doing any exercise. And so we talk a lot about the My Plate, and so really focusing on half of your plate being fruits and vegetables, and the other half the protein and greens, can kind of be an easy way to think about having a healthy diet. And then a side of dairy at your meals and stuff. You can discuss supplements with your provider if they feel like you're lacking any certain nutrients, but they might want to run some tests before they recommend that. And then staying hydrated is so important during recovery. So Your water intake should be at least half of your body weight. So you can take your body weight in pounds, divide that in half, and that is the amount of ounces water that you should be drinking throughout the day. And we know there's a lot of stress that comes with recovery and pregnancy, and that can be alleviated by focusing on those fresh foods and being active for those like good brain endorphins that get released when we're active. So a little bit about nutrition more about nutrition during recovery. So definitely seeking prenatal care and being honest with your WIC staff and providers is the best way for us to give good recommendations after that. You can discuss any common questions regarding, or any questions that are like what's common in pregnancy, because everybody is different. So we try and tailor our recommendations. So you might be having different food cravings or nausea, heartburn, and we can provide tips to help you either combat these and hopefully take them away, but that's not always possible. So hopefully at least like diminish the symptoms a little bit. Our WIC staff are going to ask questions around your usage, recovery, and thoughts about treatment. And it's not to be invasive. We just want the best possible outcome for the mom and baby and to support what your journey is. All right, some nutrition during pregnancy. So during your pregnancy at the WIC office, we will talk about a healthy weight gain and consistent meals, following a well-balanced diet, and then prenatal supplement with folic acid is super important. So we'll ask if you're taking one of those. A lot of people think when you're pregnant, you need to eat for 2, but really it's only an extra 300 calories a day for a healthy weight gain. And that can be as simple as some cheese and crackers, a peanut butter sandwich, peanut butter and jelly sandwich, an egg sandwich, and an English muffin. Those are all around 300 calories. And we'll see if this works. All right, so as an example of one of the handouts that we give during pregnancy, hopefully everyone can see that. So this is an example of what we might walk through during one of your WIC appointments. So we might talk about that My Plate that we've already looked at, and then walk through, so how much does that equal during the day, and what counts as a cup or a serving, and what are some examples? So we might walk you through that. And then a little bit about food safety. So things to avoid when you're pregnant, snack ideas, so you can be having those consistent meals and snacks throughout the day. And then dining out. So some options to try instead of the fried foods that can make us feel sluggish or give us heartburn or nausea or anything. So it's some foods to try instead of those. All right. So WIC offers a healthy food package. Here are some examples of foods that might be on your WIC card when you sign up for the program. Not everyone receives the exact same package. It's based on your category, but here are just some good examples. The food benefits do average about $52 a month, and we do have about 450 grocery stores in Colorado that accept WIC, and I believe we have 9 in Pueblo, so a good variety of grocery stores that you can utilize that WIC card at. And so if you get on WIC when you are pregnant and your child stays on until they are 5, you can actually save up to about a little over $4,000. And so we kind of compared what that could equal. We all know diapers are a big thing that we need to buy during the first couple of years. So that equals about 180 boxes of diapers, 1,500 gallons of gas, or you can just save for your child's future or other big important events that you have. So it definitely is helpful to stay on the WIC program and utilize it during all 5 years. And then I'm going to hand it over to Sonia to talk about our breastfeeding support.
Thank you. So the breastfeeding support program in the WIC office, first we start out by talking with the mom to see what she knows, if she's made a decision to breastfeed, or if she is still trying to obtain information so that she can find what her decision is going to be. We do a lot of education because we want to make sure that you're making an informed decision. Very important to make sure you get all the information you can. And WIC does promote breastfeeding as the optimal feeding choice for infants, unless it's medically advised different. Families get healthy nutrition, emotional support, and benefits that research shows breastfeeding provides. So a lot of hands-on when we breastfeed, which helps turn on all the synapses in the brain, helping that baby connect with mom a little bit better. And so we really encourage so many parts of breastfeeding for so many different reasons, not just nutrition. All of our staff have basic breastfeeding training, but a good handful, like Chelsea was saying, we have 8 CLCs, which are lactation counselors, and we have 6 peer counselors. And what those are moms that they've breastfed, they have specific experiences, but then they have some additional training to help you work through the kinks that can happen when we have breastfeeding differences depending on the baby. I have lots of moms who breastfed numerous children, and then boom, they have a child that has tons of issues. And so everybody can use a little bit of help, but we really provide a lot of support. And support is probably the number one thing you're going to need in breastfeeding, because they can direct you to me for help, but they're going to be able to be there to answer your basic questions, tell you you're doing a great job, help you if you're really struggling. So it's really important to make sure that you try to become part of our breastfeeding texting program. And we do offer classes for baby feeding, and we have some support groups and Facebook pages. Occasionally, formula might be needed, and so WIC does provide supplemental formula. Some formulas are needed for medical reasons, and others are needed for baby's tolerance. So we definitely encourage you to speak to your physician if you're needing formula and what kind, as well as speaking to your WIC educator to know what you would qualify for on the program. So the classes we offer are basic breastfeeding class. That's going to be 3 times a month, and those are virtual right now. So they're all on Zoom, and your family can watch with you. We do encourage significant others or support people to try to watch the class as well, because that's going to help your support system know what is needed with breastfeeding. Then we have the early infant feeding class, and this is also virtual, but it's broken down to where you have different, about a week to watch it, and it's broke down into little sections. And that's really the how to formula feed and why to breastfeed class. So we do encourage that early on in the pregnancy. And then the basic breastfeeding class is going to talk about how to latch the baby on, how to know when there's problems, and then some beginning tips on how to fix those. Pueblo does offer the Cooking Matters class. That's once a month, and that is in partnership with the, oh my gosh, I apologize, Cooking Matters. So it's a class that's going to go ahead and talk about the different things that you could do with WIC foods, different things that you can utilize, foods you've never tried before, recipes, different things like that. That's a really good class if you're not a great cook or don't know what to do with the WIC foods that you're using. And then we have the breastfeeding support that is offered through the WIC program. So first, if you have private insurance, a lot of people can get breast pumps through there. But if you're on Medicaid, Medicaid actually refers you to the WIC program to get your breast pump from us. So we have a free loan program, and that is for moms who may need a pump for all kinds of different reasons. But that's part of getting a good quality pump, is really part of helping make sure that breastfeeding is going to go well, because not all pumps are the same. The breastfeeding texting program, so that's one-on-one support, and we answer till 10 p.m. every night, and that is working with moms who are going through the same things you might be going through. or have had experiences with family members in recovery. So we definitely encourage you to be part of that. Baby's Breast Friends is a in-person group that when COVID's not around, we meet twice a month. In place of that, we have our Colorado WIC Mom to Mom Facebook group, and we do 2 live discussions a month. And we encourage you to join those. You can ask questions, or you can just go back and watch them when you have time. They're all on different topics, and some can be really helpful, and some are just great information. Grandmother's Tea is every other month, and this is a phenomenal class for any person who is wanting to be a support for a new breastfeeding mom. So it could be a grandma, an auntie, a friend, any of those things. So I just want to make sure you guys all know that we do offer a ton of classes. They're all virtual right now, and we want you to take as many as you can so you can be informed. Next slide. So here's my peer counselors. These are the fabulous ladies that I work with and their children in our texting program. And again, I said we cover 29 counties, and we do have a lot of people who kind of move around between the smaller counties and Pueblo and back and forth. And we actually work with a lot of them. So your peer counselor wouldn't generally change. But anywhere you go in Colorado, you're going to have access to a peer program. And so it's really good to get into this program early so that you can get the added information that's given early on, but also so that you can get to know your peer and feel comfortable when you need to start asking questions. Next slide. There we go. So breast pumps. So our loan program, like I said, is for many different reasons. So we have over 100 electric pumps, and a lot of moms use them for return to work or school. But our priority one is going to be things like a preemie baby, a baby who's not latching, a baby who's having medical issues, a mom who's having medical issues, supply issues, soreness with latch. So we want to help you with a hospital grade electric pump to help bring your milk supply in while we work on the breastfeeding. So the biggest thing to know with breastfeeding is if you don't remove the milk, you lose it. Well, if you've got a baby who's unable to nurse, you need a way to remove that milk, and a good quality pump is what you need. I'll never forget when I had my first, he's 25, and I was having breastfeeding issues. I'm from a breastfeeding family. I had all the support in the world that I could have needed. But what I didn't have was anybody who knew how to fix the problems. So I knew we've got to remove the milk, let's get a breast pump. And I went to Walmart, and I laughed because I had to get help from someone from automotive to reach a pump that was on the very top shelf. And he pulled the pump down and kind of dusted it off. And back then you just didn't see the variety of pumps you see now. And sadly, I didn't have a very good pump because they're not all the same. And so my first was formula and breastfed for 9 months. But it's so important to get help from people who know what pumps are going to work for your situation and what pumps aren't going to work, because you never want to get to that point where you're not having that help from a good quality pump while you're waiting for your baby to figure things out. The staff is all trained on a lot of pumps, and so they are able to help you when you call in to see what pump is best for you. Maybe you only need a manual, maybe you need an electric, but we're going to be able to give you that information so that you can utilize the pump that's best for you. Next slide. So breastfeeding and recovery. What I did is I kind of wanted to look to see what a lot of your challenges might be during this time, because they're pretty similar to a mom who's starting breastfeeding. So developing new coping strategies. So you've got to kind of change your environment. You've got to get yourself into good coping skills. It might take some classes, some rehab, all these different things. Well, when a mom has a new baby, she's developing strategies to care for herself because she's physically had a huge change when she delivers, and also learning to take care of someone who can't take care of themselves, who can't elaborate on what they need. And that's what's really hard is babies cry, and that's how they communicate. And so there's a lot of different tips and tricks that can be taught here. And so it can definitely be challenging because you're going to be learning recovery coping skills, but also breastfeeding coping skills. Um, Addressing trauma and shame without drugs and alcohol. So a lot of things, emotions, and different things happen when you're pregnant and then into delivery. There may be some trauma from the delivery, and it may not be that something went wrong. It just didn't go the way you thought it would. Feeling overwhelmed about caring for this new little person. Learning what they're trying to say. Like I said, they cry. That's how they communicate. Well, what does that cry mean? And what does this cry mean? So a lot there. Sometimes we have problems with sore nipples or latching issues. So you're going to be feeling pain sometimes. Pain is not normal in breastfeeding. If you have pain when you're breastfeeding, we need to get some help because it shouldn't be painful to breastfeed. I don't think any of us would be here if generations and generations ago women were dealing with such pain and had so many issues because I don't think they would have breastfed. And formula has not been around very long. A couple 100 years is all. And then recovering from delivery. A mom may have had a C-section. So if you think about it, she actually had major surgery. She has a wound on her belly, and now she has to recover from that as well as take care of this new baby. And so it's really important to understand and get yourself in a good place when going into this situation. Building new relationships and repairing old ones. So meeting and getting to know a new baby and their needs. A lot of times that brings family around, which can also be stressful, unless they're the really helpful kind. But you've got a lot of different emotions, different hormones, different people probably wanting to help and to be there to help you, and some maybe not to help you. So you also have to set your support system up really well, preferably before delivery, so that you know how to make this work the best you can. Boredom. So I definitely understand that's probably a challenge in recovery. I've never heard a new mom say she was bored, especially when breastfeeding, because we are going to be breastfeeding 8 to 12 times a day. Then we've got to change the baby, and then we've got to try to sleep somewhere in there. So there's a lot of demands, but boredom is generally not one of them. Relapse. So I'm sure that is one of someone in recovery's biggest concerns, and we want to make sure that they don't have that. Being a new mom is stressful and it's tiring, and so making sure your support system is in place to help you is so important. Finding a purpose in life, I think everybody strives to find that. Becoming a parent and working to do the best you can usually makes moms feel like they have a purpose. And so not too hard at that point, but also expanding past the mom she is to the person she is. She may have to look a little for that as well. Transitioning out of rehab and back home. So that I'm sure is very, very hard. I moved back in with my mom for a short time while my house was being fixed. And I giggle because I love my mom, but I don't want to live with my mom. But sometimes we have to have that support system So working on finding balance of being a new mom, adding the baby, and then having good foundation where you can work through all of the things that you need to at that point. So wish you the best in that area, but know that the WIC office is here to support you, to help you through a lot of that. Next slide. So things to consider when planning to breastfeed during recovery. So these can be difficult choices, but getting your information ahead of time is really important. Next slide. So, do you need medication? There's several medications that I found that they're using for treatment. And so the Subutex, the methadone, those are considered L2s. And when we utilize some of the data from Dr. Hale's medications in mother's milk, as well as LecMed, there's several resources that we can use. And an L2 says it has a lot of studies, significant amount of studies, and is probably compatible. So not only do they look at the medication, they look at how is it transferred, how much is transferred, and how are the effects on the infant. And then we have the Suboxone, which is an L3, and that one doesn't have many studies, usually no data, but it's probably compatible. When they go and look at, again, the weight of the molecular weight of the drug, how is it transferred into the blood system? Is the baby have any adverse reactions, things like that? And so those are the medications I know of that they're using right now. You will need to discuss with your provider about which medication is best for you, because it's so critical to get the med to match your need and be best for you and your baby. Thank you. What does your support system look like? So a new mom needs support. I can't stress that enough. They need it for healing if they had a C-section or a rough delivery, trauma sometimes from those delivery, or other illnesses related to delivery, such as anemia. When you lose a lot of blood, or maybe you're anemic, what's really funny is you have no energy and you're already going to be tired. So nutritional help to heal the body is very important. Having someone who can help you with those, getting the fruits and vegetables, getting the protein, getting iron, making sure that you have all that available to you so that when you do have time to eat, you're able to fuel your body correctly. New moms need support for breastfeeding. It's natural, but it's not easy, at least in the first few weeks. There's a lot of things that can happen, and it could be as simple as changing a position to fix the problem, or sometimes it's a little more detailed with a latch problem, or just needing the right tools. Having support and education goes a long way. And so the WIC office is very supportive for those breastfeeding moms. Maybe you're not breastfeeding 100%, but we're still going to support you for whatever amount of breastfeeding that you choose to do. And new moms need support that they're doing a good job. I don't know how many times you've heard good job in your life, but I know I haven't heard it enough. And so you need to find out who's in your corner, who's going to be there to support you in this journey that you're planning to take. Next slide. So depression increases risk of postpartum depression. So just want to talk briefly about this. Some people have chose drugs to help cope with depression. So that was their way. Maybe they had neglect or abuse, mental or physical illness. So medications or drugs have been used to cope with a lot of those things. Having a baby can bring up stuff from the past. So doing your best to get in the right frame of mind to deal with things during the pregnancy, so that when you have the baby, you're not having all of these emotions stirred up, all these hormone imbalances. There's a lot of different ways that things can be upset the balance. Postpartum depression is real. if you're already struggling with depression, you need to get added support and help. So support's the key. Set up your support system. Find who's in your corner. Find who can help you in this journey, because it is a journey to have a baby. It's a journey to breastfeed. It's a journey to be a parent and raise that child. So support is going to be huge. So just wanted to share a few statistics with you. Approximately 70 to 80% of women will experience at minimum the baby blues. So the baby blues, those are, oh, you might cry a little bit more in the first few weeks, just feel imbalanced, but generally doesn't last past a few weeks. Many women will experience more severe conditions of postpartum depression or related conditions. So that's why I want everybody to know that it may start out as baby blues, but if it's not improving, we definitely want to reach out to our support system, our physicians, and talk to them. It's pretty sad, but mental illness is still not considered illness. And I look at it like this: if you have diabetes, you take a medicine to fix your insulin imbalance and help you deal with diabetes. And if you have a mental imbalance, you would take a medicine to work with that. So it's really important to work with your physician, to talk with them so that they know what's going on. One recent study found that 1 in 7 women may experience postpartum depression in the year after giving birth. With approximately 4 million live births each year in the US, this equates to almost 600,000 postpartum depression diagnoses. Now that's only the diagnosis from the live births. That's not to mention the ones who don't step forward. That's not to mention moms who may have had a stillbirth or miscarriage, where there may be a lot more depression. And so really important to make sure maybe you're supporting a mom. That's why you're watching this. Understand that she may need some support and encouragement to get help if she is feeling the baby blues didn't just go away. Women with a history of depression, anxiety disorders, or serious mood disorders are 30 to 35% more likely to develop postpartum depression. That's a pretty good number. So we want to make sure, kind of check ourselves and say, I've got this going on. I'm aware of it. Now I need to make sure I'm aware of how things are going after delivery for myself, so that we can be proactive in our healing. One study found that women of low socioeconomic status were 11 times more likely to develop postpartum symptoms than women of higher socioeconomic status. So a lot of our moms on WIC qualify based on income, and it's really important to understand that we're here to help you. If you're having trouble, give us a call. This is one of our great referral sources that we do try to work with moms very closely on. Next slide. How to survive the first few weeks of breastfeeding your infant. This is huge. This is for everybody. Utilize the WIC breastfeeding texting program. So really important to make sure that you're hooked in there before delivery. Make sure that you're actually on WIC before delivery, so that if you have any need for a pump, we're not trying to get you on the program, get you a pump. And Friday at 4 o'clock is a bad time to do that. So that's why it's so important to utilize this WIC program in the pregnancy, because we do set you up to have help day one. You're already able to access our help. That's really important. Become a group member of our Facebook Mom to Mom, Colorado WIC Mom to Mom support group. It's a great place where you can reach out and talk to other moms. But the nice thing is it is overseen by our peer program. And so you're going to get good information. So it's good, reliable, scientific information. And we do let moms talk, but if we see that there's information that could be harmful, we definitely step in and let them know that that may not be the best option for them. Ask for help. Ask for help. Ask for help. It takes a village. that is the best statement I could say with being a new parent and a breastfeeding mom. And during COVID, it's so hard. So that's why we really want you to be part of our Facebook family, be in our texting program, talk with our peer counselors so that you can have that village. It's just a virtual village at this point, but really a great way to help get you off to a good start. Having someone to talk to bounce questions off of, someone who won't judge, and someone who supports. And that's what our WIC peer program is about. Our WIC staff is all that way as well, but our peer program is just, mom to mom, one on one, so that you can have that support. Next slide. Next slide. So how WIC supports your nutrition and breastfeeding needs. So we provide nutritional education. So one, we're going to provide what you need to know to help your body heal from delivery, and the foods to help you heal and recover and from pregnancy and delivery. There's a lot that actually, when you're growing this new little human, it takes a lot from your body. And so we want to make sure that you get the education and the foods and understand why those foods are important, to make sure that you get the help you need there. We work with your providers for medical needs. So maybe you come and talk to us. We see that there may be an issue. We're able to work with your medical provider to get you the help or the referral you might need, so that you can have that taken care of. We do referrals to specialists when needed. And in breastfeeding, I have a dentist I refer to often when we have some breastfeeding issues such as tongue or lip tie. And so that's a phenomenal resource that you probably normally wouldn't think of in breastfeeding. Community support. So we refer there as well, and that might be parenting classes, child development information, ACEs support. There's so many community members that we're tied to that you may not know about them all. And so that's what they're there is to help you. We're here to help you get those referrals. Support during the new mom period of breastfeeding with texts, calls, links to evidence-based information, Zoom calls to help with breastfeeding complications. And with COVID, if there's a need to do an in-person, we encourage you to talk with us. We try to do Zoom first, but we want to make sure that you get the same help that you would and the support that you need, because that is what can help get you through so much. I don't know that I would have continued breastfeeding my son with all the trouble that I had if I didn't have the support of my family. So, and like I said, no one had issues. So it was hard for them to understand, but it was their support that helped me get to that 9 months of breastfeeding. So thank you. And I'm going to turn it back over to Chelsea.
Thanks, Sonia. Maybe. All right, so a little bit about what's new in WIC. So if you've been on WIC before, you may remember from a couple years back, we used to do the checks. That's how it originally started, is you would get, you'd have to get everything that was on that check for the month. But now we've jumped forward and we have e-WIC cards now too. So it's pretty cool if you just need to go pick up a gallon of milk, and you don't want to get the rest of your WIC foods just yet. If you just slide the WIC card first, that will cover that gallon of milk. And so it's made it a lot easier, and it makes it a little bit more discreet too, which is helpful. We have an phone app like with the 21st century, and we also have an app. So it's called the WIC Shopper app. And it's really cool. You can scan things in the grocery store and it tells you whether or not you can buy it with your package. Right now we're doing all phone appointments, but we also have online appointments through wichealth.org. And so you can go into wichealth.org and choose one of the topics that best interests you, and you can do that online lesson twice a year usually. And so that's another cool thing that's new. And we also send an appointment text reminders. So for those of you that are have a lot going on in your life, which is most new moms, you get a text reminder letting you know the day of your appointment. And hopefully everyone's kind of picked up on the theme of support for this topic. So WIC really connects families with the support that they need. So whatever you need on your journey is what we're trying to focus on to help you. We try and empower the caregivers and give you guys tools that help to raise healthy families. So hopefully that overarching theme kind of came through in this today's discussion. So if you've heard all about this and you're ready to apply for the WIC program, or you know someone that would benefit from being on the program, here's that screenshot I was talking about before of what it looks like to sign up online for our program. We can just do coloradoWICsignup.com or .org, and it takes you right to this form here. Fill out a couple sections, submit it, and we'll call you within about 2 days is our turnaround time to get you onto the program. You can just call our office, and our numbers on the next slide. Or find a location at coloradowic.com. So that's our main Colorado WIC website. Or if you're applying already for Medicaid or SNAP through the Colorado Peak website, you can also apply to WIC right in there too. So it's kind of a one-stop shop there. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening through our program. Feel free to call our office if you have any questions. The phone number is up top there. And go ahead and follow us on Facebook. We have our Pueblo WIC program page that we post on almost daily, and then the Colorado WIC Mom to Mom support. And we also have Instagram that we're not quite as good at keeping up on, but we're trying. So you can search for Pueblo WIC too on Instagram.
Thank you both. That was awesome. I had no idea there was so much support for new moms in our community, and with such a wide array of what their needs might be. So I wanted to tell you, you did a great job, because we do all need to hear that. There was one thing that you said that really struck a chord with me, and that was nothing went wrong. It just didn't go like you thought it would. And I think that's why we're doing this series, because we don't always know what to expect. But when we know what our options and our choices are and who is there to help us, we have better outcomes. So I really, really thank you for the work you do to support new moms and families, growing families here in the community of Pueblo, Colorado.